Hello and welcome. I'm Alex Chris, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Intuit QuickBooks. This past year has been an incredibly challenging time for small businesses. So many of our QuickBooks customers have struggled to keep their doors open while their employees and customers are safe, and all while navigating personal and professional challenges. That's why at Intuit QuickBooks, we're taking the whole month of May to celebrate small business success. We want to recognize the talent, tenacity, and resilience of small business owners, honor the difference they make in their communities, and help support their continuing journey to success. So we invited the person who most embodies all of those qualities: overwhelming talent, tenacity, and resilience. A person who has made an indelible difference in communities across the country for decades, and a man whose success on the basketball court and in the business community can only be described as magic. I am thrilled to welcome Irvin Magic Johnson, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Magic Johnson Enterprises. Magic, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Alex. This is going to be fun. And I just want to say congratulations to all the small business owners out there. Stay safe, stay healthy. And I hope that you have the most amazing 2021 for your company. And also, too, that you can keep your employees and grow your bottom line and grow your brand all at the same time.
Oh, I love that. And actually, that's a great place to start. You know, when this pandemic hit us just over a year ago, one of the first things we thought about with our small businesses was, hey, how do we make sure that our small businesses can keep their employees and keep their doors open? And the government came out with this Paycheck Protection Program. And I know we got super involved in that. And I know you did as well. And you had banking partners that put $325 million in Paycheck Protection Program back into small businesses. How did that get started? Tell me about that.
Well, Alex, what happened was we had lost 41% of all small Black businesses, right? And then about 32% of all Hispanic small business owners, and then another about 25% of women-owned businesses. So when I saw those numbers, I went to my company, one of the companies that I own, Equitrust, and I pulled out $325 million so that these business owners who the Paycheck Protection Program gave the money to banks as well as credit unions, but it didn't trickle down to small Black business owners, women-owned businesses, or Latino-owned businesses. So in order to save some of these businesses, they needed funding. So I decided to put up the money, and we've saved over 15,000 businesses so far, but we're still doing it even today. And I was so happy and so proud to be able to, work with these small business owners to keep their doors open, to keep their employees, and they're critical to the communities that they're in. So they provide services that are very much needed in those communities. So it was my pleasure. I'm happy I did it. And I'm happy that all those incredible business owners got to keep their business and also their employees. And that's critical. Small business make America go.
That is absolutely true. And, I actually want to back up a second because, I think many people know about your incredible basketball career, but maybe not everybody knows about the impact that you've had as CEO and founder of Magic Johnson Enterprises. So talk to me about the mission and how the evolution of this enterprise has happened over the last few years.
Well, when I think about it, Alex, I started much like all the people who are on today, as a small business owner, a small mom and pop business, trying to drive revenue, trying to make sure that we had a successful business. I started off with one movie theater, basically, and we grew to 6. AMC came in and bought us all out. Then I started with 3 Starbucks. I became the only person in Starbucks history to own Starbucks outside of the company. I did a unique deal with Howard Schultz, who was then chairman and CEO of Starbucks. And we built 125 all in 40 different markets. And it was funny, Alex, because I always tell this story. You know, when we announced the deal in LA Times, they said, no way minorities are paid $3 for a cup of coffee. We'll pay $3 for a cup of coffee. We quite don't know what scones are, Alex. So I had to take the scones out of my Starbucks and put in sweet potato pie, peach cobbler, sakatumi cake, things that resonate with the urban consumer. And my per caps were $5.59 a person. His per caps in suburban Starbucks were $5.51. So my stores were doing better than his suburban stores. And this is what really made a difference, right? I took out the music that normally plays in a Starbucks and put in Michael Jackson, Prince, Beyonce, that same music that resonate with my customer base. That's why we were so successful. So what am I telling everybody out there? Know your customer, over deliver to that customer, and you'll get the retention that you're looking for, and they become your brand ambassadors, right? So I'm in a lot of different businesses today. Thank God the Dodgers won the World Series, so I got a ring. When I was president of the Lakers, we won 2, and I got a ring from the Lakers, so we won 2 world championships in 1 year. But LAFC soccer, the WNBA team, the LA Sparks, I have Sodexo Magic, my food and facilities management company. And then we're in the infrastructure and insurance business. So I'm in a lot of different businesses, but I started with one and I tried to be great at that one. And then my portfolio was able to grow because we over delivered and we were great at that one thing that we did in the beginning.
I think that is it's the perfect entrepreneurial story, right? It really is about focusing on the customer. Mm-hmm. It's about, when we talk about why the impact of small businesses is so critical on the world, it is having that local community understanding that then allows you to deliver with a differentiated experience for your customers. And that, to me, if we lose that, I think we've lost a lot. And so I love that story. You know, your success, you just listed even probably just a fraction of your incredible success. When you look back, what are you most proud of?
Well, I think for me, it's really on the nonprofit side, because I believe you can do well and do good at the same time. So when I think about sending over 10,000 kids to college, I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that we built 20 technology centers in the poorest neighborhoods. So because those kids can't afford to have an iPad or a computer in their home, right? But they do need access to one because they need to keep up their grades and they need to do the research on these iPads. And so when I think about what I was able to do to impact these young people's lives and their education, that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of making sure that, you know, we raise a lot of money for HIV and AIDS organizations. So those are the things that I'm really proud of. I think that they go hand in hand. Nonprofit and for-profit business go hand in hand. And people are loyal and they trust my brand because of those things.
You know, I want to fast forward to this past year. You know, when I talk to small businesses, one of the things that I'm not surprised, but it is just reinforced in every conversation, is what they've had to do to persevere this last year. The resilience of our small business communities are just incredible. When you think about persevering in difficult times, you know, any advice that you have for small businesses, you know, that are still managing through it, still persevering right now?
Yeah, I think first of all, you know, you have to really understand where is your company at this point, right? So first, let's start financially. Where are you financially? And do you need to go to these credit unions or banks to get a loan? Or now cities have a lot of money in grants too. So you don't have to go to just banks and credit unions anymore. Now you can get a grant from the city or the state now because they have federal funding as well. So let's dive into the finances first. And then, do you need to cut back at home, right? So you might have to go home and say to your wife or your husband or your family, hey, because the business is not making the revenues we used to make, we have to cut back our spending. And that's very, very important. So you must know your finances now, and then don't be afraid. This is very important, Alex, for fresh and new ideas and new approaches to your business. See, a lot of times, small business owners or business owners, period, they're afraid of change. But during this time, we got to make changes, and you got to look at your business a little different. So don't be afraid to change, and then make sure you invest in technology. That's the key too. We must keep up with the latest and greatest in technology. That's going to help us so much. So again, we must get ready to adjust our business. And that might be only for 6 months. It might be only for 9 months. It might be for a year, but it might be forever. And you have to be good with that.
I just want to pull out two really critical things that you just said there. One is around cash flow. It's about understanding your working capital. It's one of the things we have heard from customers and have invested a ton in QuickBooks, is being able to understand exactly where you are. And we actually now help you predict 90 days into the future, because when you get caught by that surprise, a payroll you can't run, a bill you can't pay, the system is not set up in your favor. And so you got to be proactive. You got to be able to go to government loans, bank, fintech, others that are there to be able to get in front of you. But just awareness and transparency of your cash flow and your working capital is just so, so critical. And then the second one, and I want to go a little bit deeper on this one, because I have heard from so many businesses in this past year, the ones that, I would say have struggled the most and potentially failed are the ones that had a working model, pandemic hits, what happened to them isn't working anymore, and they're just waiting it out or aren't able to figure it out. The ones that have survived are the ones that have pivoted.
Yep.
They figured out, hey, you know what? This is a new opportunity. And I can think of, business after business, the one that said, hey, I was selling in retail, but you know what? Now I've moved online. Or, I was selling, direct, and now I've been able to go wholesale and business to business. Talk to me more about, mistakes that you've made, or just advice that you have on how to mentally get through that idea of, I need to pivot. I need to always be looking for that next opportunity in my business.
Well, I think that's why you, first of all, hire the staff that you have, or you're working with either partners or the executive team or your management team. And then you're also following the market. Where's the market going, right? We're striving for scale, for growth. We want sustainability, right? But sometimes you have to pivot and not be afraid to do so. And during this pandemic, we've seen more businesses pivot than those who have stayed the same. I'm one of those guys. I had to pivot as well. And in a number of my businesses, because the school systems were not open. So I have a lot of school districts that I serve food for the kids. So what we did, it was really interesting here, Alex. I called the superintendent of the schools, and they said, Magic, we still got to feed these kids, because this might be the only 2 meals they will receive, because I serve some of the poorest school districts, right? So I said, let's do this. You have something that I need, and I got something you need. I can have my chefs and the cooks still prepare the food at the school, but you have to lend me the buses to take them to the neighborhood so the kids can come right down 5 minutes from their house, pick the lunch and the breakfast up, and go back home. And he was like, wow, that's what we're talking about, thinking outside the box. Yeah. So I still got a chance to keep those contracts, right? I'm still making revenue and money, instead of me saying, hey, I can't do it. No, my chefs, my workers, they still wanted a paycheck and they wanted to work. And so it worked for everybody. So sometimes you got to take a step back and say, how can I still make this work for my company, for my employees? And the main thing is for my family, right? And you got to start thinking outside the box. And sometimes you got to think for the client that you have the contract with. And that's what I did by saying, you got the buses and the vans, I can still cook the food and we can prepare, you just deliver it. And so it worked out for everybody.
You know, you obviously get exposure to hundreds of small businesses, thousands of small businesses. If you look at the patterns of the ones that have been successful, are there characteristics that you see that are just markers of success? Like, how do you know when you meet an entrepreneur or you meet a small business, does the light bulb go off in your head that's like, this, they've got it?
Yeah, because they stay hungry for knowledge, and Alex, they listen to companies like yourself, you know, and guys like yourself, you know, they make sure that every single day they looking on how they can improve their company, or what's the new technology out there, what can help them become successful. You said something online. What happened? We seen this big online presence now for everybody. People are not going to malls anymore. They're not going to the stores anymore, right? You can get the groceries delivered right to your home now. So think about that. But the old school businessman or businesswoman would say, oh man, I don't know anything about technology. You don't have to know about technology. Get somebody in your company who does. And now you can service your customer in a different way. So it's those people who say, hey, I'm open to change. I'm open to new ideals on how to change my business. I want to pivot. I may not know how. So I go to a conference or I go to a company, Alex, like yours, and say, hey, give me some new ideas. Tell me something that I can do. And then they go out and apply that. See, it's one thing to hear it. Now you have to apply it. And that's to me, are the most successful companies that we see today.
I love that. And I actually think even looking outside of your own domain, out of your own small businesses, right? There are patterns and lessons to be learned from every industry.
That's
and you
right.
can look at something that's working in one place and say, you know what, I can adopt that, you know, pivot it over to my industry and see if it works. So I think I love that.
Alex, what did I learn in sports? Your competitor can make you better, right? Larry Bird made me a better basketball player. I got to admit that, right? And I hated the man, but I knew he was a great basketball player and he was going to shoot 2,000 or 3,000 shots a day. So that made me shoot 2,000 or 3,000 shots a day. He was going to improve and be better the next year. That made me work hard in the summer to improve and be better. All of us here on this virtual speaking engagement have competitors, or like you just said, there's another industry that somebody is working in. Take from them what has been successful, and then you apply it to your own business. I do that all the time. Listen, I'm not the smartest guy, but I am the smartest guy when I see somebody doing something and it's been successful, and I'm gonna just take it from them and apply it at Magic Johnson Enterprises. I've done that all the time, and I will continue to do that.
It's fantastic. Look, I want one more question on something that I just hear from small businesses. It's the number one thing that keeps them up at night, and it all comes back to money. And, you know, we've worked really hard. We've already talked about cash flow, but we've worked really hard at QuickBooks to level the playing field on access to capital, making loans available. And I've heard from so many small businesses, you know, they walked into the bank said, you know, fill out 50 pages of documentation, and then the approval rates on that is, you know, in the teens. Yep. And so it just feels defeating. But if you don't go to access to capital, your ability to grow, sometimes your ability to even survive is limited. So what's the advice that you would have for small businesses, especially right now, in order for them to get the financial support that they need?
Well, again, I think, Alex, when you say what QuickBooks is doing, I think I would just be calling your phone, right? I'd be like, listen, what can I do to be a part of QuickBooks and what you're doing? How can I get the loan from you guys? They have made the criteria so difficult for any small business to get a loan from a bank. Listen, I've been through this. See, most people thought because I was Magic Johnson, I didn't have any challenges. Well, 8 or 9 banks turned me down when I first began. So they wanted my picture and my autograph, but they did not give me a loan. And so it wasn't until I went to the 10th bank that they finally said yes. So I even had challenges getting money. And so now what I would tell you, if there's organizations like QuickBooks out there who are willing to say, hey, you don't have to fill out 100 pages of documents and you don't have to go through all that criteria that you have to do at credit unions and banks. We're here to service you. We're here to listen to you. But also what I like what you said, Alex, you're here to help them. You're not just going to write a check for them. You're going to help them survive and become a thriving business because of your knowledge and expertise. See, that's who I want to work with. That's who I want to get a loan from. Those who will help my business to grow, or I can sustain that business until this pandemic is over, and then I can get back to cash flowing, and the money that I was making before this happened, I can get back to making sure I have a successful business. And a lot of times they take advantage of small businesses, and especially times like this, you really got to be careful on who you get money from. For me, it's a lot of capital out there, but you got to go with smart capital and smart people who can actually help you streamline your business and help put you in a position that you're going to be successful. So I've been through all of that. Trust me. You know, now a lot of people throw cash at me today, but before that didn't happen. Urban America was not sexy 30 years ago when I started this company.
Yeah, well, again, it's the perseverance. So, you know, we've hit on a couple of these, but I'd be interested, you know, we talked about moving online. We talked about the need to constantly be learning. Any other trends that you're seeing right now that you think small businesses just have to be on top of? You know, it's sort of non-negotiable that they got to be thinking about.
What I did, you know, I called every single client that I had. And I said, how are you doing during this pandemic? And I got so many letters and emails back that said, Magic, I just understand now what type of partner I have in you when you called me and checked on me. I want to be in business with you for the next 20, 30 years. So it's thinking about things like that, right? You do have clients and you do have customers. How can I keep those clients and how can I keep those customers that I have even right now today? You have a community-based business, all of us. Don't forget to leave a flyer at a door, you know, go around and just, you know, hand out things to remind people you are there. See, those are things that don't cost you a lot of money. That's just some paper and your logo, what you provide, and make sure you get on the ground and just, hey, I'm still here. I'm open. These are my hours. If you need me to deliver whatever, whether it's food or this or that, I will do that. See, those are things that you can control. So I am never going to stop hustling, man. I'm gonna always grind. Yes, I'm successful, but I want to keep being successful and I'm gonna keep on hustling. And I'm also quick and nimble. And that's what technology does. So if anything I can tell any small business owner out there, technology can streamline your business and keep you on top of everything, all your bills, what's coming in the back door and what's going out of the front door. A lot of times we say, oh, it's too expensive. No, it's going to pay off for you. Trust me, it will pay off for you, just like it did for me and my companies.
Yeah, and just to connect the dots on what you said there, because I think it's so powerful. The grind, the time that you have focused on improving your business is invaluable.
Yep.
But I talk to so many entrepreneurs that don't value their time. And so they don't leverage technology to streamline parts of their business. They're not automating things. They're doing it okay by typing it into a spreadsheet or keeping things, pen and paper and all of that. And what
Mm-mm.
they don't realize is that's opportunity cost lost. That
Yes.
is time that you could be out there handing out flyers, being in the community, finding your next customer. Don't waste your time doing the stuff that technology can do for you automatically. Focus your time where you can grow your business, deliver for customers in a better way. And I think that's really, really powerful.
Well, it's the only way you can survive now.
I want to turn it around now and talk about the impact that small businesses have on their communities. Right? We're looking now and your impact on multicultural, underserved communities. What is it that impact of a small business or a group of small businesses have on these communities now more than ever?
Well, because they provide services and goods and products that are essential to those who live in, let's say, urban America, inner cities, or anybody's community. And what we do is when we trust that small business owner, that small business owner knows what product you need. They know your house. They know what they sold you before. They know how it works. And I'm gonna tell you a quick story right quick, and this will be good for everybody here. They brought me in to be a consultant for Best Buy. They were building smaller stores in the inner cities. And I said, the number one thing you had to do was to go out and talk to the people first. Before you build a store, talk to the people, talk to the pastors, talk to people, just do focus groups. And so one of the managers didn't want to do that. So they built this beautiful store in Georgia. And he had all these big appliances. So he came to the big meeting that they had of all the store managers, and he raised his hand and said, Magic, I can't sell anything out of my stores. And I said, did you go and ask the community what they need and want? He said, no. I said, well, that's your problem. So I said, get out into the community. They'll tell you what they need. So he went out, and you know what they told him? He was in a Korean community. They said, we don't do big appliances. We do the small appliances, and that's your problem. You don't have in inventory what we like. We want a smaller wash machine. We want a smaller refrigerator. That's how we do it. Guess what happened? He went out and got everything smaller, sold out, couldn't keep the appliances in. But if he had to did his homework before, he wouldn't have had to go through that. See, sometimes you got to get into the community and just ask them and then put in what they want. So focus groups, community groups, ask people. And that don't take you nothing but a little time, but it's going to go to your bottom line.
I love that. What we say internally is you got to fall in love with the customer problem, not your solution.
Yeah.
And that goes back to even what you said earlier around remaining curious and constantly learning. You got to be out in the community. You got to be talking to your customers. You've got to be learning, what do they need? What do they need? What do they need? Because you know what's funny is they'll just tell you. They'll tell you exactly, your examples were perfect. They'll tell you exactly what they want. And now you've got a problem that you can go solve.
And it's important that you listen to a company like QuickBooks and a person like Alex, because they have the tools to help you become successful, to help you to move your company forward. See, when I hear companies that can help me, oh man, you don't have to wait. I'm calling them up. When can I get an appointment? Because what are we in business for? To be successful. We don't have to know everything. Somebody can have that knowledge for us and give it to us, or we will have an employee that have that type of knowledge and help our business to be successful. So I want to thank you, Alex, and your company, because it's very important. We don't have a lot of people who really care about business owners, and you guys care, and you're making a difference.
I really appreciate that, Magic. And I'll tell you, what we talk about at the company is, I've got a team of 5,000 people that jump out of bed every morning, fired up to go serve small businesses. And if you mentally think of that as your extended team, you got a team that's out there building products and services and content and ideas to be able to make you successful, it can be really empowering. And so for many small businesses, it's still going to be a grind. If you pull back now and you think about, hey, you're sending a message to these entrepreneurs that are out there that are still struggling. There's still, questions about the next payroll run, the next customer, the next whatever. What's your message to them?
Well, the first message I'm gonna give them is have the same passion and drive and love for what you do when you first open the door, right? That's number one. Because listen, I don't care. I have the same passion, drive, and I've lost a lot of money this last year with those sports teams not being able to have fans. But I'm still waking up with a smile on my face, coming in or doing business for my home. And I'm excited because the future is bright. Yes, it's been tough. Yes, it still will be a struggle. But right now, you still have your business. Right now, you can affect your business by making sure you embrace change, making sure you are good on your finances, because if you don't know them, then get you an accountant, get somebody to come in and break that down for you so you'll know where you are, so you'll know how much money you can take out of the business or not take out of the business, right? So it's going to get better. It will definitely get better. But if I'm you and QuickBooks said, hey, I can help you out, I'm signing up. Alex, I'm signing up. And I'm saying, hey, help me because I need help. Don't be afraid to say you need help. Let me tell you something about me. If I don't know something, I'm calling every employee I got and say, I don't know this. What do you think? Right? Or I'm calling my friends. Can you help me with this? I'm struggling with this. See, I'm not this proud business owner or this proud former basketball player that I can't ask somebody to help me. If I don't know it, I will ask for help. And then I'm smiling all the way to the bank because I was smart enough to ask for help.
Two big points on that end. One, you got to stay passionate and love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, there's no chance. So make sure you love what you're doing, and then don't be too proud to ask for help, whether it's a partner like an accountant or a bookkeeper, whether it's someone that's been down that road before, or whether it's a tool or a service that can help you be successful and help you save time or get money. There are a lot of people out there trying to help small businesses be successful. So that was fantastic. Magic, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been absolutely incredible.
Oh, my pleasure. And again, just thank you to you and QuickBooks and just everybody out there.
We know that small businesses are the fabric of our community, and that's why we've dedicated this entire month to small business success. As we just talked about, there are organizations like Magic Johnson Enterprises and QuickBooks, just two organizations that are dedicated to small businesses. And we've got resources like our resource center. We just published a small business recovery report. There's a lot of resources in addition to our tools and software that can help you be successful and make sure you get on your feet and deliver for yourself, your family, and your communities. Magic, I just want to thank you one last time. The insights you provided today were phenomenal. And I want to thank our entire small business community. You are the ones out there grinding. Yep. You're giving it your all every day, and we need you. You are the fabric of this community, and I thank you for your perseverance and the best of luck going forward. So thank you all for joining us today. It was great to be able to spend some time with you, Magic.
Again, thank you, and thank you.